Hi everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Cynthia and today's video is another video of my process of creating this journal. This is a journal that I created for a design team project. If you're curious to see the final results, they are posted on my Instagram. So my next step here, last video we worked a little bit on the cover and I started assembling some of the signatures. And so now I want to work a little bit on the inside of the cover, and I've pre-trimmed two pieces of a dictionary that I really love to use for the inside of my covers, as well as I grabbed the piece that I thought I was going to use for the cover, but I ended up grabbing it for the inside to reinforce the spine. This is just a canvas fabric, and I'm just using some wet glue to adhere that onto the spine there. So I'll adhere that first, and then I'm going to be using some white glue to adhere the book pages. You can really use any type of glue that works for you. These are just some of my preferred glues, and also the fact that this is a journal that I'm creating that I think I'm going to hold on to does affect my comfort level in trying new glues or new items that I wouldn't always use otherwise. But I've used this glue many times before, and I really love its results. It's a glue that I discovered when I was creating some Butts houses. So if you don't know what a Butts house is, it is like a miniature little house that you put under your Christmas tree. And I have a whole village of them, and I've used this glue to create it. I find that glue at the Dollar Tree is just like a craft glue. I just really, it takes a while to dry, but once it's dried, I find that it's very solid. So I really like that about it. And another perk is that it balls up on your fingers, which is something that I absolutely hate about fabric tack. Fabric tack just like sticks to your skin, and that drives me crazy. So I love that this glue just balls up. So here I'm done with the spine, and of course you could let that dry fully, but I'm just gonna go ahead and adhere the inside pages as well. So that I can just let everything sit for a while I work on creating some ephemera. So I'm just applying a generous amount of glue. I don't want to put too much though, because if I put too much, then the pages will be warping, and that's just not really what I'm looking for, of course. And so I just use just like a basic paintbrush to do that. And this is what I like the most about using some white glue like this. It is washable, so I'm very lazy with my brushes, so they end up all glued up. But with white glue like this, although it'll take a few times to wash it, it doesn't matter how long I leave it, it will, with some soap, it comes apart, and it's fantastic. So I'm just doing the other side here. I skipped through because, well, it's the same process. And I'm just using a bone folder to make sure that it's laying flat on there. So now moving on to what I want to be doing for this video actually is creating some envelopes and just some ephemera to that are going to be going into the journal. Now, as I've mentioned, this is a design team project, so I am only using digitals from Dust to Roses. It's not a requirement. I could use other digitals. That's not like one of the things I have to do, but I just like to kind of focus in on those digitals and let the kids kind of inspire me. So I've trimmed down this piece here that was from a collage page, and I just really love the design, so I think I'm going to create a journaling card with it. And then I'm going to go on to select a couple other pages that I would like to use to create a couple of envelopes. I really love creating envelopes, and at first I thought it was very intimidating, I'm not going to lie. I would see really beautiful envelopes that people have created, and I would just think like, wow, like I wish I could create pretty envelopes. I don't know why, it just seemed daunting to me, and partly because I really hate measuring things, and if you're not measuring for your envelope, like it can become a little bit tricky. But there's definitely ways to work around it, and I am proof of that because I hate measuring and I've made it work. So I'm just going to be trimming off the white that is still present around the prints that I have here. And then, so this first one is going to be like a rectangular type of envelope. I don't know how else to describe that. And then with the blue print that's under there, I'm going to create a bit more of a squared envelope. Well, the place to insert won't be a square, but it's going to be one of those triangular type of envelopes. So now that I have those two trimmed up to the sizes that I want, I'm just going to go ahead and fold them. To help you fold, you can use, here I'm just using a book page, but I could have used a card that I would like to be able to insert in there. And I just use that as a guide to try and fold as straight as possible. There are many tools out there, like envelope makers, I believe. I don't have that, and I don't really have the intention of getting that either. It takes up a lot of room. You know, that's the thing with all these tools that are there to help you. Although they're really great, you do need the room, and that's just not my situation at the moment. So here I'm just using my bone folder and making sure that I'm folding everything properly and that it's laying as flat as possible. So I'm just showing you here, it's slightly crooked, so I'm just trying to fix that up. And I'm not too sure. That's when, I start looking at it and then I look at it too much and then I'm not sure where it's crooked, how to fix it, and it becomes a little bit overwhelming sometimes, but just play around with it a little bit and don't stress it out. It's not a big deal if it's not perfectly straight. Of course, that's my personal preference, but it's a junk journal. Things can be imperfect, and that's just a better reflection of life. So here I'm just going to use my ruler and rip out some of the sides that I don't require for the envelope. And you could use your scissors, of course. Again, I'm not measuring anything. I'm just kind of going with it. It's not going to be the exact same angle everywhere, but that's really okay. And just removing each sides for this envelope, and then I'm also going to be removing the sides of the other envelope. I really hope that you guys are enjoying this little series so far. I just thought that I'm creating this journal, and I may as well record my process and share it with you guys. I know it's nothing new, and it's not like I'm inventing anything, but personally, I really enjoy crafting along other crafters. I really like to watch YouTube videos while I'm crafting, and I find comfort doing that because, well, especially with the pandemic, it feels very lonely, and I'm always crafting alone. So I really enjoy listening to others' videos and craft along with them, or I typically do my own projects or work on my own in my own journal, but just having that presence and hearing the voice of someone else and kind of taking me through steps that I often take, I don't know, there's a certain comfort that comes with that. So I don't know if anyone else feels that way. Probably. I think that's one of the beauties of YouTube, actually. It's a really nice community, and it makes you feel a little bit less alone in this very crazy world. So here I've just finished removing those edges, and then my next step is going to be, well, I'm going to fold that a little bit there, but I want to cover the insides of the envelopes. I don't want them to be just white. And so for this envelope here, I believe I am using some book pages to do that. So you're going to see, I'm just going to kind of place the book pages onto the envelope and just going to make it work. It's 2 pages together, so it allows me to cover the top flat as well as the the rectangular area. I don't need to cover all the areas. I mean, you certainly could, but I didn't think that was really necessary. So I'm just placing it the best way that I want, and then I'm just going to use my ruler to trim it. I hope you guys are all doing really well. I don't know when I'll be uploading this video, but at the time that I'm recording, it's May, and I'm scheduled for a vaccine next week, so that's exciting. And my husband and I are trying to move, and it's been very stressful and a very difficult time, actually. So I'm just trying to focus on what's in my control, and crafting is one of those things that I get to create what I want and kind of get the outcome that I wish. Well, I mean, for the most part, sometimes things don't work out the way you want, but I think you understand what I'm saying. It's a little bit more in my control than other things in life. So it's been a bit of an escape, and it's been a good one. So I've recorded quite a few videos, and in hopes to have some content if we are able to move at the end of the month. if it's not at the end of the month, it'll just be later. But Canada is not doing great with our cases numbers, unfortunately, and some provinces are closing their borders, and that's what's happening. So it's been a little bit challenging to figure out how to make the move happen. My husband got a job, so they're like, we have to move. It's just, obviously we can't move if they don't let us in the area. And like his company would obviously be understanding of that. He already started working. He's working remotely for the first month anyway, but it might have to be a little bit extended for things to calm down. So here you see me, I'm just placing the book page onto here. I just use some glue. I know I'm going to be stitching on some of the areas of the envelope, so I think that's going to be adhered quite well onto there, at least well enough for me. And then I'm also going to be gluing the that little triangle there. Here, I like to press again once I've glued and refolded every section of the envelope. I really like to go over with the bone folder. You could also use your scissors or even the back of your fingernail. I often press things with the back of my fingernails, and I find that works really good. You know, you don't need any tools, just use your fingers. So here I'm just carefully folding the upper flap, and then I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next envelope. And for that envelope, at first I thought maybe I would use book pages as well, but I decided to use another printable instead. It just felt like using the book pages seemed a little bit boring for this one, since it's already like earth tone prints. So I thought maybe like a pop of color on the inside would be very interesting. So I'm just picking out, as I say, pop of color, and the three first are not a pop of color, but I end up going with the bright red and orange one. I thought it pulled some of the orange that was already on the outside of the printable, but it added really some interest. And here I sped through it because it's the same process as earlier. I'm just trimming down to the size that I need, and then I'm going to be adhering it with some glue again. Now that I've done this step, I am ready to kind of embellish some of the other parts that I had decided to use. So I have this little piece of the printable, and then I had that postcard, but I'm finding that the one I had pre-cut out doesn't really go with the warmth of that postcard. So I'm going to trim a piece of those two butterflies on the flowers. I thought that those would look really nice on there. And I'm just trimming that with my ruler as always. And then I'm going to be securing that onto the postcard. And the reason I'm doing things in this order is that, so essentially I know that on this card, I'm just trimming off. Oh my gosh, this thing, like I need to change it. I have more, but I'm trying to tough it out until if we do move so that I can just carry it and it be, and for it to be like just like a brand new so that it doesn't stain anything while I'm traveling. Anyway, it's like silly reasons. But the reason I'm doing things in this order, and I'll do that while I'm crafting as well, my sewing machine is on a different desk, and I only have one chair in the room that I craft because it's restricted room. Like there's not, I don't have a ton of room. So I hate having to move my chair and like kind of gather everything around it. I just feel like it's like a little hike every time I go to the sewing machine. So I try and do everything in an order that will make sense so that when I get to the point I need to use the sewing machine, I have everything to sew, not just one thing at a time. So here I'm just distressing the image a little bit. And my next step is going to be to select some fabrics and embellishment for the envelopes, as well as this little journaling card that I'm making. Now moving on to the envelopes, I am just kind of shaping them back until the glue is fully set. The papers will continue to be a little bit warped, but once they're completely dry, then I'll be able to shape them one final time. I'm not really delicate with them. It's just like I do what I need to do to get them to lay the way that I want them to lay. And I'm just going to be kind of figuring out what I want to, how I want to embellish them. For this blue one, I think I want to use a piece of white lace, and that's going to kind of double up as a bit of kind of like a belly band on there, the way that I'll sew it. And then I'm just using a piece of a embossed paper to be able to fully close the envelope, so it kind of tucks the tip of the triangle will be able to tuck into that piece. So I'm just going to put some glue on each end. I'm going to use some fabric tack to do that because I know it will be pretty secure. You could also sew, but I didn't want to. I didn't want to. So I'm just going to use some glue. And so that one will be ready. I don't think I'm adding more to it. And for the other envelope, I wasn't really sure how I wanted to embellish it. So I'm going to play around a little bit more. But I wanted to do something that would flow with the envelope a little bit better. So I selected some different elements to add on to there. And so to close up this envelope, I'm just using some double-sided tape. And just because of the nature of the that kind of envelope, I don't really want to try and sew on the inside. Like, that seems very complicated to me. I have limited knowledge of sewing, so I'm not gonna put myself through that. And so now I'm ready to move on to that second envelope. And like I said, I wasn't exactly sure what to do with that one. I am going to be distressing a little bit because you see the backside of the other printable kind of poke through. So I'm just going to go ahead and distress all around the envelope just to add a little bit of grunginess to it. And then I can move on to decorating it. I am going to be decorating the front side of it rather than that flap. And with this envelope, I know that I can, and I will, I'm just going to sew around the edges to close it up. That's going to be kind of my way to close it. So I have these labels, these vintage labels. I've had them for a while and I kind of forgot I had them, and so I decided perhaps I need to start using those again. There's so many things like that I acquired like at the very beginning when I started journaling, and I kind of forgot about them. And sometimes I'll go through my Instagram and go through my feed and try and see the different types of materials that I used to create with and see if there's anything that I don't really use anymore, and perhaps I can revisit some of those. Whenever I feel in a bit of a creative rut, that's what I do. And it does help. So that's a bit of a tip if you feel like you're in a creative rut and you don't know what to try, and maybe revisit some old journals. You can also just flip through some of your older spreads, and there's some inspiration to be found in those for sure. So I'm just trimming a piece of a book page. So I want to kind of create a bit of a cluster of a bit of a collage on that corner, and I don't want to cover the I almost said papillon, the butterfly that much. So I'm just going to remove a little bit of the blank sides. And to finish up, I'm just going to add a piece of a little ribbon. And that's pretty much it. I'm going to pass all of these through the sewing machine and then show you the end results. I really hope that you enjoyed this video. It was so nice to craft along with you guys. I hope you're all doing well, and I will talk to you all in my next one. Thanks so much for watching. Bye now. Thank you.